I bring you the one and only ALF. He is in the purple trunks. And he is playing Zerg, as you can probably tell here. Versus his opponent. It is, of course, the GSL-GSTL Crevasse, which is partly his opponent, but his real opponent is Bischu from Team Dignitas. He is in the yellow trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the southeast. As I say, this is a bit of a grudge match. We had this match before in a very recent tournament. ALF was able to win 2-1. Bischu's already taken a game from ALF, however, ALF with an interesting early layer Mutalisk ploy was able to deal with Bischu quite nicely. I would like to see a little bit of a build order win there, honestly, because there were no Stalkers on the ground. It was very much a Stargate play from Bischu. So I think that Bischu did screw up slightly there. But, regardless, ALF played really well. Really good muta control. And even after that big Blink Stalker all in, all the way across the map, it was defeated. 4 bases greater than 2. Funny how that works. 2 base good, 4 base better. Alright. Well, let's see how this one goes. It's been quite a tiring day. I think I've been casting now for about 9 hours, give or take. Yep, it would actually be about 9 hours, so a bit exhausting. Do on your own. But hey, we do what we have to do. The matches will be starting tomorrow at 9:30 Central European Summer Time. That is 8:30 BST. So do keep an eye out for some amazing games there. There have been plenty of them. Down goes the assimilator for Bischu. And if we have a look at what ALF's done, he's gone once again Extractor first. This could mean that he's going for this early lair build that he went for before. It does let him get really fast Zergling speed. But on a map like that doesn't really make too much of a difference. It's too big a jog for that to matter. So massive run across the map. So I don't know. It could be that early lair build again that we saw from ALF before. That seemed to work out for him pretty well. Unexpected. Well, let's see what Bischu's got up his sleeve. Cybernex core down for him, just walling off. Doesn't go Nexus first, interestingly, on this map. Feeling perhaps a little bit defensive after the last one. Very, very popular map to go Nexus first, simply because of that area here. But ALF's perhaps got Bischu on a little bit of tilt. Some surprising maneuvers from ALF. Immediately going into the metabolic boost upgrade. How many Zerglings does he have? Only 4, so doesn't show any sign of getting aggressive yet. Just wants to take a little bit of map control, maybe poke into the base if he can, get some information. Pylon going down right there for Bischu. Very slow on the expansion, honestly. Playing very defensively, doesn't want to risk anything. Wow, ALF actually expanding at the front, and a Stargate play here from Bischu. It looks like he's not even going to bother with 2 bases. This is just going to be a 1 base. It's basically a cheese, let's be honest. This is what it is. A cheese is something that relies on hidden tech in this regard, and that's exactly what this is. Bischu's going to go and use Void Ray harassment to try and destroy his opponent. We'll see if he decides to take a second base off of this, but he's showing no sign of that at all. Simply continuing to mine on that, and he can't take a second base if he starts building Void Rays. They are too expensive. Can't support both. And that's a big problem. A lot of Chrono Boost saved up as well, so I expect Void Rays right about... to Phoenix, never mind. Oh well. One way or the other, it is air. Lots of it. Let's see what it can do with this. Well, if it's going to be a Phoenix, then he can certainly grab that base at some point in the not-too-distant future, but still, not exactly high on his mineral count, as you can see, spending an awful lot of it. Phoenixes do build very fast. And I say I would have expected a Void Ray to try and deny that hatchery or attack the back there. It's interesting that he chose to go for Phoenix. But hey, there we go. The second Phoenix on the way out. Still no sign of an expansion from Bischu. 1 base Phoenix is a little curious. I'm sure he must expand some point in the future. Quite soon, I would think. There we go. He's just about got the money for that one. There we go. Nexus about to follow up. No. This goes for another Phoenix. Nexus about to follow up after that. This is really late, especially considering this map. One has to wonder if it was worth it. Bischu can now expand. Now what we've got are these 3 Phoenixes able to deny an Overlord. Not really a big win. Spore Crawlers coming up en masse in the base of ALF right now. Should be up momentarily. Not really enough Phoenixes to snipe off those Queens. He can certainly pick off an Overlord or two, but once the Spore Crawlers go up, this is kind of going to be shut down. I'm not convinced of this play by Bischu. I'm not really sure where he's going with it. I mean, he delayed his Nexus so long in order to make this work, and it's on a weird map to delay your Nexus as well. Crevasse is just so safe. I also like the fact that ALF has decided to keep the pocket expansion free, as you can see right there. Bischu trying to harass even more, but with Spore Crawlers around, it's just those Phoenixes are shut down now. And yet Bischu continues to build them. I'm not convinced. What can I say? I'm not convinced. Let's see if Bischu can turn this into something cool. It'll be great if he can. Bischu with good Phoenix control there, able to pick off another Overlord, doesn't lose a Phoenix at all. He is certainly doing damage. He hasn't quite done enough damage to justify that happening yet, but he's getting to that point. ALF seems to be missing injects here as well. Now 4 Queens on there. He has no excuse to miss injects now. There you go. Oh, if he's able to pick that one up. No, he hides in the extractor. I was thinking, no. He's not going to let him do that. That would be terrible. Robotics Bay coming up for Bischu. Hydra Den coming up for ALF. Is this some... If this is some weird mind game play where he manages to manipulate his opponent into making a bunch of Hydras and then builds Colossus, then Bischu is incredibly manipulative. I don't know if that's what he intended to do. A transfuse on the Overlord right there. Second transfuse on the Overlord. He refused to let that damn thing die. Third transfuse. No. Bischu's still not losing any Phoenixes, however. Another Phoenix coming on the field, actually going for a grand total of 6. This harassment is extremely annoying. It's not really done a lot, but it's really irritating. Bischu's actually equalized in terms of the number of probes that he's got on the field. ALF building Hydralisks. Grooved Spine upgrade, Zerg Missile attack level 1, and another 3 gateways, so the transition out of Phoenixes into Colossus has begun. But really now. Some kind of crazy play here by Bischu, but it seems to be playing to his strengths at the moment. Harassment, keeping his opponent on his toes, picking off Overlord after Overlord very easily. It's a second Overlord ripped out there. He's forced a lot of spare Overlords to be built by ALF. That's, I would imagine, minerals that he'd much rather spend on something more useful. But look at the stack of Overlords right there. And Bischu demonstrating excellent Phoenix control, not losing a single one. Plenty of harassment going on here while he continues to macro in the background. He even has a slight work account lead. Once the Hydra Den comes out, things are going to get a little bit messy. Oh, lone Hydra. Bad. No, no, no. Hydras get eaten by Phoenixes so fast. You can't afford to just let them run around like that. That's 50 gas that was just picked up and blown away in a nanosecond. As ALF continues to try and keep up with this group. Phoenix is now taking more significant damage, but look at that. A triple grab on the Hydras. 1 down, 2 down. Couple of Phoenixes taken out, but trading them for the Hydras. Not a bad little bet, and if it's going to be nothing but Hydras, then, well, Colossus are about to wreck your world. It will be a Roach Hydra build, which is not all that effective against the big Deathball Colossus. Oh no. Good number of sentries on the field as well to divide the Roaches and the Hydras up. In the meantime, Bischu's just going to take this expansion. Is Bischu actually economically ahead right now? He almost is. If you can believe that. After how long he delayed it, and I assumed it was going to be Void Ray. Fool on me. ALF now forced to build Roach Hydra. A classic composition, but not so effective against Colossus. Does have a Spire on the way up, so we could be seeing some Corruptors in order to deal with that. ALF doesn't have a lot of information to go on, really. A Bischu, a bit of missed control right there, just hanging around, deciding not to move out of range. Unfortunate. I'll say, ALF doesn't really know an awful lot of what's going on. Hasn't spotted any of that tech. Bischu continues to deny any kind of scouting information, deny map control. Drone heading over there. It's going to be caught out of position, however. Bischu spots it, snipes it off nice and easily. So the wonderful thing about Phoenix is you completely deny scouting information. So when the strike comes in, it's a bit of a surprise. However, Corruptor's on the way for ALF. 1, he wants to deal with the Phoenixes, and 2, well, he wants to deal with the Colossi. It could very well be coming at this point. That's exactly what's coming in. A big creep spread from ALF as well. Very much essential for these Hydras. These Phoenixes are on borrowed time right now. eventually those Hydras will be able to take them down. One is taken out. Once again, a little bit of missed micro, and Bischu has nowhere to go with those things. Running into Spore Crawlers everywhere he goes. Hydra sprinting as much as they can to try and catch up. Does he have the range from there? Oh, he's slightly out of position. Unfortunate. Colossus count is now at 4, looking for 5 now for Bischu. Alf's army supply is equal to his opponent, but the composition of the army, as far as I'm concerned, is much better when it comes to Bischu. Much, much better setup. No upgrades for him yet. Colossus has now been firmly scouted. If he didn't already know, he certainly does now. A lot of Corruptors on the field to deal with that, but that is a lot of gas spent and a lot of potentially wasted supply if he's not careful. He does need it, though. The amount of Colossi on the field, it's just got to happen. 11 Corruptors, there's going to be 5 Colossi. Will this push even come on 5? It might even be later than that. Bischu trying to deal with his Overseer right here. Unfortunately, armored units don't take a lot of damage from Phoenixes. Sad face. It will eventually die, sometime right about now. How wonderful that is. Alf once again supply blocked from that. Doesn't seem to have realized it just yet. That's going to be a fairly significant delay for him. There we go, 3 Overlords incoming. And Alf's force moving out. Roach Hydra Corruptor. Now a reasonable composition and enough numbers, I think, to deal with those Colossi. It's still a scary force from Bischu, one way or the other, though. And once those Corruptors are down, of course, they're not going to be able to do a damn thing to everything else. He sees a lot of laser death. Does he choose to engage? He's hesitant. I can't really blame him. I wouldn't want to go into that many Colossus either. +1 upgrade available on that. +2 upgrade flyer attack coming in. Once again, Phoenix is scouting. Will that Phoenix finally die? Yes, it will. It took him bloody long enough. As Phoenix is now cleaned off of the field. Warp Prism going up for Bischu. That's interesting. Trying to bypass this defensive force entirely, I would think. Can't... I don't know. It might work. Gravitic Drive's on the way. Does he have a Dark Templar? He, of course, does not. Could be a Zealot drop. Sentry drop is a possibility, but most likely a Zealot drop. And that is Bischu's Death Ball. A slight army count advantage in his favor. And possible Warp Prism harassment in the process. Let's see if that ends up happening. Well, that's one dead observer, one way or the other. And Bischu is cautious. I'd be cautious too. Both of these guys are going to take very significant losses. Alf has a ridiculous Corruptor count. It's at 19. Those Colossi are not going to survive all that long at all. In comes that engagement. Not a lot of firepower coming from the back for Alf, though. Will he be able to kill a Corruptors? No. Corruptors just sink up far too much damage. And that's the risk here. All those Colossi will die. Corruptors finally torn up. He did just trade almost 18 Corruptors for 5 Colossus. I don't know if that was worth it, because Bischu still has this massive ground army. I had the feeling that he had too many Corruptors in that mix, and now Alf doesn't really have what he needs to stop this from happening. Blink Stalker micromanagement is very, very nice, and down goes one of those, and the Warp Prism drop in the back as well. This is, I think, going to put Alf in the coffin. As sad an image as that is, the wonderful, lovable alien, it's not going to happen. So much fire, so many Stalkers coming in, a big mass blink out of that one. Sentries, nicely placed force fields, deny the Hydralisks. He's able to take them out one at a time. The Hydra's now finally doing damage. But some Blink Stalker nonsense going on here. Will the Hydras be able to hold up against that? I don't think so. There's just too many Stalkers. Hydra's taking their toll, but unfortunately the line is starting to collapse.